The hansom pulled to a stop. The door swung open, and Gabe took it as his cue. He stepped up and climbed inside, settling opposite the gentleman.
It's unfortunate news about Tommy. Gabe, my dear fellow.
The gentleman began, adjusting his gloves.
But it can't be helped. When the mind goes, death is, I've often found, the best resolution.
Gabe didn't expect empathy, not from his benefactor. Men like him never saw the lower classes as people, just something to scrape off their boots. He said nothing, just nodded. The gentleman went on, his voice as smooth as ever.
We feel things have stabilized somewhat, and we're putting a more permanent solution in place for managing the Black Swan. Once the anarchist scum are dealt with, we'll arrange something more enduring for you elsewhere.
Another nod from Gabe.
How do you want the Burner Street mob handled?
He asked flatly. The gentleman smiled, a slow reptilian curl of the lips.
Ideologues often can't help themselves. Give them enough rope and they'll hang themselves.
Gabe frowned.
I'm not with you. How do you mean?
My sources tell me of a thug called Ivan.
Gabe nodded.
I've heard of him.
Find him, use him, and then...
The gentleman chuckled, low, amused, cruel.
Discard him.
Gabe stared at him.
That's easy for you to say. I've heard he's an animal.
Yes, that's what the sources say too, but that's why he'll be useful. Find him. Use him.
There was no room for doubt, no misunderstanding. Gabe was under no illusion. This was going to get dirty.
The residue from the materials to make the matchboxes to help pay the rent were everywhere. The will and drive to finish a consignment was dwindling to the point of despair, the baby crying increasingly through hunger, and Anna and Ronnie on the verge of sinking into the desperation of permanent criminality. Maggie was still grief-stricken, and the hopelessness debilitating. The bang on the door was inevitable. The landlord. Money due or get out onto the fucking streets was his compassionate response to their plight. What now? Maggie could no longer stomach the attentions of scum like Rigby. It turned her stomach to pure sickness. Plus, he was riddled. Maggie was devastated and done, but she had hidden it from her beloved children.
Ivan and Gabe sat in the corner of the Black Swan, drinking, chatting, negotiating in low voices. Lucy moved behind the bar, serving punters with her usual efficiency, but her eyes kept drifting to the pair in the corner. What was Gabe doing, talking to that man? She'd seen him before. Ivan. He was bad news. Everyone knew it. Mickey stood near the door, watching the room, arms folded, always alert, always ready. Gabe got up from the table, 2 empty glasses in hand. He walked over to the bar, intending to refill them and return to talks. As he placed the glasses down, Lucy moved in quickly to intercept him.
What are you doing?
She asked in a sharp whisper.
Why's he here?
Gabe glared at her.
You've caused enough trouble, don't you think?
She caught the warning. The message was clear. Back off. Lucy said nothing for a moment as she refilled the glasses. Then quieter.
I just hope you're right about Tommy. That these murders stop.
She met his eyes.
You thought the same thing. Don't put your guilt on me.
Gabe didn't answer. He couldn't. She was right. The guilt gnawed at him. The guilt of what he'd done, killing his own brother, dumping the body like waste. The guilt of suspecting Tommy, of believing him capable of the worst. But he had been capable. Gabe had known that more than anyone, more than Lucy. But right now, none of that was in Gabe's mind. He was angry, and rightly or wrongly, that anger was aimed squarely at Lucy.
Just thank your luck you've still got a roof over your head.
He snapped. Lucy looked away, stung, as Gabe glared at her, then turned back toward the table with the 2 freshly refilled glasses. From his seat, Ivan had watched the whole exchange unfold. Quiet, observant, calculating. He saw the way Lucy's expression tightened, the way she avoided Gabe's eyes. She wasn't happy, not one bit. Ivan smiled to himself. Maybe she needs to be taught a little lesson, he mused. And maybe I'm just the one to do it. There was tension there, real friction between the two. And Ivan, ever the predator, sensed opportunity. Exploiting weakness was his craft. If Lucy and Gabe were splintering, it was something he could use. He accepted the refilled drink with a nod of thanks, but in his mind, the wheels were already turning. Yes, a real partnership with Gabe might be very beneficial.
The rookery stank. A single gaslight from across the street provided the deep shadow of the fence, which behind stood a leering Rigby and the midwife abortionist Flowers on the Frock. She listened as Rigby told her of a woman he knew, fragile, grief-stricken and desperate, just the kind ripe for his exploitation. Flowers on the Frock found the slobbering buck-toothed Rigby just as noxious as the rest of Whitechapel, but he had his uses. His ravenous desire to ensnare vulnerable women was compulsive, and there were no ends he would not go to feed his addiction.
She can't make her rent. She has children she can't feed,
Rigby said gleefully.
So, get to the punchline, you snivelling little cretin.
She has a baby.
He smiled, the devious intentions obvious now. Flowers on the Frock looked him in the eye.
Doesn't mean anything unless...
She left the statement hanging. Rigby grinned.
She's a doting mother, and doting mothers can be persuaded to do anything for the good of their children.
Flowers on the Frock glared impatiently.
So fucking persuade her then.
He shook his head vigorously.
No, my dear, you're the savior. You persuade her, and I'll get her to beg me for the money, and she'll be mine.
Flowers on the Frock nearly smiled.
I do wonder about the depths a devious little fucker like you will descend to, Rigby.
It'll be a pleasure to do business with you, my dear.
I do wish I could say the same, but you're a repugnant little gutter snipe, Rigby. How much can you trap her in debt for?
Rigby shrugged and smiled.
As much as I can.
Flowers on the Frock held out her hands in frustration.
Which is how much? Dipshit.
She started to slowly emphasize each word as if Rigby was an imbecile.
How much can you lend her, moron?
He nodded finally, understanding what she meant.
Because if I turn round and say 10 and you can only lend her 5, it ain't gonna happen, is it?
Rigby said
5.
5?
Checked Flowers on the Frock. Rigby nodded.
Okay, cheapskate, and you've got the fucking money, I take it.
She asked. Rigby nodded again.
You sure?
She questioned again.
Yeah.
Rigby said, nodding vigorously.
We'll have to set it up so she's not suspicious, and then you can jump in with the offer.
Rigby grinned. Flowers on the Frock just glared.
You are one disgusting, devious little cunt, Rigby. I almost feel sorry for the woman. Maggie, is that her name?
Rigby nodded.
But I don't.
Flowers on the Frock confirmed callously.
Lucy sat alone in the kitchen. The pub had long since closed its doors and the silence felt heavy. In front of her sat a plate of potatoes and bacon. She wasn't hungry. In truth, she felt sick. She downed a few gins while serving earlier, hoping to dull the pain, or at least the fear. But it hadn't worked. The dread was still there, gnawing away at her insides. Gabe had said she could stay, but words meant little. He could change his mind at any moment, especially if his guilt about Tommy began to eat away at him in earnest. In the back of her mind, another worry festered, one she hadn't allowed herself to fully confront until now. What if she'd been wrong? What if Tommy wasn't the killer? The thought made her stomach churn. It clawed at her gut, making her feel worse than ever. She looked down at the food, untouched. Then the door opened. Gabe stepped in. He didn't look at her, didn't speak, just walked straight through the kitchen and out the other side. That wasn't a good sign. Lucy sat motionless, staring at the wall. She didn't know what to do. She had nowhere to go, no one to turn to, no family left alive, no real friends, just fear and the growing suspicion that everything was about to come crashing down.
Rigby could hardly contain himself. The thrill of reeling in a desperate woman made his blood race. He pulled on his mask of sympathy, but the grease of his true nature seeped through. Maggie sat slumped, hollow-eyed. Her last coins had gone on a loaf and a little milk for the children. The landlord's knock was only a matter of time. Rigby leaned closer, lowering his voice to a hushed, conspiratorial tone.
I know of a lady, Margaret, a kind soul. Helps women who find themselves in difficulties, only too glad to lend a hand.
Maggie eyed him with suspicion.
How do you mean? You're not suggesting...
Rigby cut her off quickly, a hand raised as if in mock horror.
Oh, no. Nothing of the sort. She's been through hard times herself back in her younger days. That's why she cares. That's why she helps.
He had no idea if any of that was true, but the lie rolled easily off his tongue. Maggie hesitated, chewing her lip. The hopelessness of her future pressed down heavy. At last, she gave the smallest of nods.
All right, I'll hear what she has to say.
Rigby smiled. The hook was in.
Trust me.
Flowers on the Frock said, not a phrase many in Whitechapel would ever put in her mouth.
I see it every day. Half the babes born here don't reach their 5th birthday. Truth.
Maggie's heart sank further, though she thought it could sink no lower.
A mother who truly cares.
Flowers went on, voice flat as stone.
Acts before it's too late.
There was no softness, no compassion in her tone. None was needed. The years, the district, the endless procession of desperate women had scraped away what little humanity she may once have possessed. Now there was only the work and the facts. And the fact was, if Maggie did nothing, her baby was as good as dead. Maggie's eyes roamed the room. Not lavish, but tidy, almost respectable compared to her own crumbling lodging. The respectable face of ruin. Her voice cracked as she asked,
Would I ever see him again?
Flowers gave the smallest shake of her head. No sympathy, no hesitation.
Best not. Does no one any good.
Maggie's chest clenched so tight she thought she might not breathe. The pain was near unbearable. Worse than hunger, worse than shame.
I have no money.
She whispered. Flowers leaned back, eyes narrowing, calculating.
Is there no one you can borrow from?
She said carefully, too carefully. Rigby's name stayed tucked behind her teeth. Best not risk Margaret putting 2 and 2 together too soon. Maggie only shrugged, helpless. Annie worked beside her mother from dawn till dusk, folding and gluing the matchboxes with small, patient hands. The paste and splinters made her fingers raw, and the cost of the wood and paper was beginning to outweigh what little they earned. Ronnie tried to help, though he was clumsy, forever afraid of spilling or spoiling the work. He hovered more often than he joined in, restless, ashamed. Both children noticed the change in their mother, the way her eyes lingered on nothing, the hollow stillness that settled over her. Annie would press close, slip an arm about her waist, try to cheer her with scraps of chatter, but the blankness in Maggie's stare chilled her. She had no way of knowing the dreadful choice her mother was weighing in silence. Still, Annie had begun to wonder what her own future held. School was long behind her. The factory loomed, or worse. Childhood was already slipping. Ronnie, meanwhile, found his mind turning to old temptations. He thought about being lookout again, about the quick thrill of running, the coins that followed. Rigby had become a regular, unwelcome visitor, and Ronnie had started to doubt him, especially after what Mary Jane had whispered about the man. But it wasn't something he'd ever dare repeat in front of his mother. She didn't like Mary Jane, and besides, Ronnie knew enough to keep his mouth shut.
Rigby loitered in the corner, his back pressed against the damp wall, buck-toothed grin twitching, unable to disguise his glee. He watched like a ghoul at a graveside. Flowers on the Frock sat stiff-backed, hands folded neatly in her lap, her face carved into professional disdain. She had seen this scene 100 times before. Maggie's chest heaved as she lifted her baby boy, arms trembling as though every sinew resisted what she was about to do. The child gave a soft whimper, unaware of the fate being sealed. It was the most gut-wrenching moment of Maggie's life. As she placed the tiny bundle into Flower's waiting arms, her face crumpled, and the sobs came in a flood she could no longer choke back. The sound was raw, animal, unbearable. Flowers on the Frock did not so much as blink. Her empathy, her humanity, had long since been stripped away by years of this grim trade. She merely adjusted the shawl about the child and spoke flatly, as if reciting a line by rote.
Don't upset yourself. It's in your boy's best interests.
Rigby's grin widened, eyes glittering. Maggie was his now, broken, beholden, bound in debt and despair. Maggie slumped forward, spent. The tears burned her cheeks as the last of her strength drained away. A hollow remained where her heart had been. If she could only scrape enough to keep Annie and Ronnie from the same fate. If only.
Rigby slithered ahead through the damp, cobbled streets, leading them down alleys so narrow no daylight ever touched the stones. Maggie followed, a bundle of possessions clutched in her arms, Annie behind her with another bundle of rags and clothes, and little Ronnie trailing last, his chest heavy with dread. The stench hit them before the rookery itself came into view. Sour gin, piss and rotting refuse thick in the air. The old nickel. Ronnie had never been here before, but even he knew it by its reputation. The maze of alleys, the leaning hovels, the shadows. Worse than White's Row, far worse. And this, Rigby crowed, was where they would now live. Annie had asked where the baby was. Ronnie too. Maggie, hollow-eyed and voiceless, had said nothing. Rigby answered for her, lips wet with his crooked grin.
Just staying with friends till your mother finds her feet again. Nothing to fret over.
Annie didn't believe him. Instinct told her otherwise, and instinct told her that Rigby was dangerous. Ronnie, though too young to name it, felt the same. They reached Rigby's dwelling, if such a thing could be called a home. No doors on any of the huts or rooms, just gaping mouths of darkness. Annie asked why. Rigby only shrugged.
Doors burn better than firewood.
She and Ronnie exchanged a glance, saying nothing. Both saw their mother staring blankly into the dirt, already far away from them. Inside, the damp clung to everything. Maggie sat on the sodden bed, still as stone. Annie scraped together tinder to light a meager fire, while Ronnie crouched close for warmth. Rigby disappeared, muttering about sorting things out. When he returned an hour or two later, his hands rubbed together eagerly, his grin wide and leering. He looked straight at Annie.
You, my girl, are too old to be a burden to your mother. Miss Flowers on the Frock has kindly suggested arranging a post for you in service up west. Fine young gentleman.
Annie froze, blood draining cold. Rigby turned to Ronnie.
And you, boy, will be under my employ. You'll earn your keep proper.
The children stared at him in disbelief. Annie found her voice at last, trembling.
But where will I go? I can't leave Mother. I can't leave Ronnie.
Rigby's grin vanished. His eyes flicked to Maggie, still staring into nothing, then back to Annie. His voice was low, sharp.
You'll do as you're told, or you and your brother will go to the workhouse, and I'll not have idle hangers-on under my roof. Do you understand?
Annie's stomach turned. She looked to her mother for rescue, but Maggie's gaze had fallen to the rotten floorboards. Silent. Gone. Rigby's glare bore into her. Annie swallowed, then nodded, beaten, defeated, afraid.
Mary Jane had left Barney sulking at home, still moaning about his hard day of labour on the docks. She'd found Caleb in Ringers, and with Barney's money in her pocket, she was set on a night of drink and laughter. She didn't notice the pale, pinched face at the window, but Caleb did. He frowned, nudged her, and nodded toward the boy staring in.
You're taking them young now, Mary Jane,
he joked. Mary Jane turned, saw Ronnie's anguished face, and her heart dropped. She shot Caleb a withering look.
Ha-fucking-ha.
She pushed through the crowd to the door. Ronnie was near tears, barely able to get his words out, except one. Rigby! That was enough. Mary Jane dragged the rest out of him in gasps and sobs, her fury boiling.
That fucking bitch!
She spat when Flowers on the Frock's name surfaced. She hauled Caleb from his gin, shoving him into helping. He protested, but he owed her, and she collected. They scoured the streets, asking after Flowers. Macca knew, of course. Soon enough they were pounding at her door. No answer, likely outplying her grisly trade as an abortionist. The night wore on fruitless. Caleb drifted back to Ringers, and Ronnie crept back to the hellhole Rigby called home. Mary Jane, seething, had decided to return to the old grump Barney, when she caught sight of the old bitch herself on Commercial Street. Bloodstains on the woman's apron. Mary Jane followed. Flowers on the Frock slipped into a narrow lane. Mary Jane cut ahead, ducking through an alley, and waited. When the midwife turned into the rookery, Mary Jane was there, blocking her path.
What do you fucking want, whore?
Flowers on the Frock spat, her lip curling. Mary Jane stepped closer, fists clenched.
Where's the baby?
Flowers gave a hollow laugh.
What, baby?
Don't give me that shit.
Mary Jane snarled, eyes blazing.
You know what fucking baby? Maggie's baby?
Flowers' expression flattened, all false innocence gone.
With new parents up north.
Mary Jane's jaw dropped, then twisted into fury.
You're full of fucking shit, aren't you? You really expect anyone to believe that?
Her voice rose, incredulous, every word trembling with rage. Flowers grimaced, hand diving into her blouse, producing a knuckle knife.
I won't tell you again? Get out of my fucking way, whore!
Mary Jane laughed, sharp and savage.
So what are you gonna fucking do about it?
The old woman lunged, but Mary Jane was faster, younger, and brimming with a lifetime of unspent rage. Every cruel hand, every filthy word, every bitter night came pouring out of her in one unrelenting surge. She slammed Flowers into the fence, then into the brick wall. The skull cracked loud against stone. Flowers yelped, crumpling to the ground. Breathless, Mary Jane loomed over her. The rage hadn't burned out yet. She stamped down hard on the woman's face.
Farm that, you old bitch!
The knife lay limp in Flowers' hand. Mary Jane snatched it up, snarling.
I'll be having that slag.
Light burst across the alley. A bullseye lantern, harsh and white. A shunter stepped forward.
What the fuck's this?
He barked. The beam landed on the heap of rags at Mary Jane's feet. Recognition softened his voice.
Oh, her.
He spat on the ground. Turning to Mary Jane, he jerked his head.
Okay, go on. Be on your way before you get nicked.
Mary Jane didn't need telling twice. She vanished into the night, leaving Flowers on the frock whimpering in the gutter, bloodied and broken, her breath rasping shallow. The shunter spared her one last glance, spat again, and walked on.
The 5th floor of the tenement where Rigby lived had a sash window. Small, but big enough for someone desperate enough to slip through. Maggie, dazed with grief and despair, still found the strength to climb the rickety stairs. The door to the room had long since been hacked up for firewood. She stepped inside, crossed the floor, and pushed open the window. No one stirred. The building slept on. Within seconds, she was gone, head first into the cobbled thoroughfare below. Her skull split open on the stones. A pool of blood spread quickly, running to the gutter. The drizzle that always seemed to hang over the nickel washed it along, dark rivulets snaking down the central drain towards the next street. A passerby noticed, then looked away. This was the old nickel. Blood in the gutter was nothing unusual. It was inevitability.
The Black Swan was steady for a weekday afternoon. Costers, traders, dockers, a couple of soldiers, a few girls from the nearby lodging houses, and Ivan brooding in his usual corner. Gabe worked the bar with Lucy serving. Even with Tommy gone, Lucy was on edge. Odd, really. Tommy had been cruel, but his presence was a kind of shield in the feral chaos of Whitechapel. Without him, she felt exposed. Especially when scum like Rigby slithered in, Lucy felt her stomach turn. She forced a mask of barmaid's indifference, though the sound of his wet sucking around that bucktooth made her skin crawl.
Hello, Lucy,
he said, leering. She hated the way he savored her name.
What do you want?
She asked flatly, without a hint of politeness.
Is Gabe in?
Yeah, out back.
May I come through?
His leer widened. Lucy fixed him with a stare, then shouted toward the rear.
Gabe, Rigby's here to see you.
What the fuck does he want?
Came the reply from the back room.
Fuck knows, he wants a word.
A pause. Then Gabe's irritated growl.
Fuck's sake, send him through.
Lucy lifted the hinged counter, glaring at Rigby as he squeezed past. His breath rolled over her, foul and rancid, making her gag.
Thank you,
he said, dripping mock courtesy, trying for flirtation. Lucy rolled her eyes, grabbed a half-pint, and took a swig, anything to wash away the stench of him. Gabe eyed Rigby with open disdain.
What do you want?
He asked curtly. Rigby licked his lips, that bucktooth catching the light.
Fresh girl, perfect maid material, 13, innocent.
Gabe's brow rose.
Fresh?
Oh yes, mother and father both dead, no one to claim her.
Gabe's glare hardened.
You're all heart, Rigby. Best stick to robbing.
Rigby shrugged, grinning.
I'm like anyone else down here, Gabe. If there's too good an opportunity to pass up.
So what do you want?
£10.
Gabe barked a short, derisive laugh.
She's worth it.
Rigby pressed, leaning in.
You know, since '85, fresh girls fetch a premium.
I don't deal in that trade anymore, that's why.
Rigby's grin twitched.
But you'll know someone who does.
Gabe was silent for a long beat, then exhaled slowly.
Maybe. I'll have a word. Where can I find you?
Same place.
Rigby said, a little too smug. Gabe sneered.
Fuck off. I'm not being seen dead in that shithole. Come back in the morning.
Rigby nodded quickly, chuckling to cover his dismissal, and slunk out. Gabe sat back, rubbing his jaw, feeling the dirt of the man still clinging to him. Even in Whitechapel, Rigby made him feel unclean.
Annie sat broken on Rigby's bed, her face streaked with tears. Ronnie hovered in the doorway, empty, bewildered.
Annie?
He said softly. She looked at him, then away.
Oh, Ronnie. What are we gonna do? I don't want to stay here, and I don't want to go to the Spike.
Ronnie shrugged helplessly.
Why did Mum do it?
Annie shook her head, tears welling.
I don't know. She wasn't well. That's all I know.
The shuffle of heavy feet on the boards froze them. Rigby appeared with a leering grin, his parody of welcome. It sent a cold finger down Annie's back.
Hungry?
He asked. They both nodded. Rigby unwrapped a cloth parcel. Bread, bacon, eggs. He stoked the fire, scraped last night's grease from the pan, and set to cooking. The smell filled the room. 20 minutes later, they ate with desperate vigor, barely pausing to breathe. Rigby leaned back, plucking bacon scraps from his teeth, smug in his satisfaction.
Thank you, Mr. Rigby, sir.
Annie murmured. Rigby nodded, eyes sliding away from hers.
I've secured a position for you, my dear, in service with a gentleman of breeding.
Ronnie glanced at his sister. Annie's eyes widened.
In the West End, sir?
Rigby shook his head.
It will involve traveling.
And Ronnie?
She asked quickly. Rigby turned his gaze on the boy.
I can't keep him now your mother has gone. He'll go to the Poplar Workhouse.
Annie's lips trembled.
What if I don't want to go and leave him?
For a fleeting moment, Rigby's hard face seemed to soften.
You've no choice. You couldn't earn enough for you both. You'd starve.
Ronnie piped up, desperate.
Couldn't we live here with you? I could be your lookout.
Rigby stared, then looked away.
Decisions made. I'm not a charity.
Annie swallowed.
So why give us such a lovely meal? You could have fed us skilly.
Rigby's eyes fixed on her then, hard and unreadable.
Because hard life makes hard souls, Annie. Choice.
He leaned closer, his voice almost gentle.
Choice is a luxury for the rich. Down here, survival is about hard choices.
Ronnie looked baffled. Annie just shivered, the meaning sinking in.
Mary Jane knew where to find Caleb. Barney was trying his luck at the docks again, but Caleb would be in his den. The rookery he holed up in was foul. Damp brick, reeking drains, the sour stench of piss and smoke. The alleys twisted in on themselves like a trap, and Mary Jane felt her skin crawl as she picked her way through. She found him dozing on a manky mattress, one boot still on. She nudged him. He woke with a start, blinking blearily.
All right, girl. What you doing here?
Sorry, Caleb, mate. Do you know the old nickel well?
Caleb sat up, rubbing his eyes.
Yeah, sort of. Why?
She didn't answer at once. He saw the look on her face and rolled his eyes.
You're not chasing after scum again, are you?
Mary Jane shrugged.
It's personal.
He studied her for a moment, then shook his head.
Well, it ain't the place you go on your own. And if you don't know anybody, know what I mean?
Do you?
She asked, meeting his gaze. Caleb exhaled, realizing she was set on it.
This got to do with that shitehouse Rigby?
Yeah?
You realize you could get into more trouble than it's worth.
Mary Jane gave a small, hard smile.
It's something I have to do.
Caleb watched her a moment longer, then nodded.
All right, pass me my boots.
Caleb had stopped to jaw with an old mate in the 10 Bells, which gave Mary Jane a chance to throw back a quick booster. She needed it. Their next stop was the Old Nickel. Caleb had wrung the address out of his mate, then checked again if she was really set on going.
Shit,
she'd said flatly.
I've been in worse places these last couple of years.
Oh, I doubt it.
Caleb grinned. But she had. She'd survived a lot worse situations, yet the thought of walking into Rigby's haunt twisted her gut. At the mouth of the street lay a skinned, rotting cat, stiff-legged, crawling with flies. A fitting welcome. The alley was so narrow a cart could barely pass. The buildings, soot-streaked and leaning, crowded over the cobbles. The stench of piss, coal smoke and sickness clung to the air. Children, bedraggled future little acorns of the criminal fraternity, gazed with glazed, dazed expressions as they passed. Caleb stopped her at the corner of a narrow court. He caught her arm, whispering,
"Wait, watch."
From a doorway, inside the court emerged a furtive Rigby and a nervous-looking Annie in tow. Rigby turned back toward the doorway and barked,
"You stay there till I get back, boy."
Then he tugged Annie away, down the alley. Caleb and Mary Jane stepped back into the shadows, holding their breath as Rigby passed, too intent on his prize to notice them. Mary Jane's fists clenched at her sides. Her heart hammered. Where's he taking Annie? With Rigby and Annie gone, Mary Jane and Caleb slipped into the court and headed for the doorway he'd come from. The air was thick with the intoxicating stench of horse manure and damp brick. Caleb caught her eye and gave a grim smile, as if to say welcome to Rigby's world. On the step outside the door sat Ronnie, knees tucked up, face pale.
You all right?
Mary Jane asked gently. It was plain he wasn't.
How'd you find me?
Ronnie muttered as Mary Jane sat beside him. Ronnie glanced toward Caleb, who gave him a nod and a half smile.
"You all right, mate?"
He said, more greeting than question. Mary Jane tried to soften her face.
I heard about your mum. I knew you'd be in trouble with Rigby.
Ronnie's lip trembled.
He's gonna take me to the workhouse,
Caleb sneered.
"Wouldn't surprise me, the bastard."
Mary Jane looked down, her voice low.
Suppose it's not really his concern, is it?
Ronnie shrugged.
He's found Annie a job overseas, as a live-in maid.
Mary Jane froze. Her stomach turned to ice.
Is that where he's taken her now?
Ronnie nodded. Caleb tilted his head.
"Sounds all right. Room, board, steady job."
Mary Jane swung on him, her eyes blazing.
She's 13, Caleb. Fresh girls aren't sent abroad for service, not that way.
Caleb frowned, confused.
"What do you mean?"
Mary Jane's voice was a whisper, raw and hard.
There's a trade in fresh girls. Abroad. Extremely lucrative. And it's not for service.
The words hung in the foul-smelling air. Caleb blinked, the realization dawning.
Macca stood incredulous, arms wide.
"What the fuck do you want me to do about it?"
You know people. You've got clout around here.
Mary Jane pleaded. Macca glared, shaking his head.
"Trust me, you have absolutely no idea what you're getting yourself into. People think I'm bad. These bastards are beyond evil, Mary Jane. What's this girl to you?"
You don't get it, do you?
Mary Jane shot back.
"No, you don't get it."
Macca snapped.
"This shit goes on all the time. There's nothing you can do about it."
Mary Jane faltered.
Why?
"Because,"
Macca said, turning his gaze from her to Caleb.
"there's big money and powerful men in it. She's a commodity, that's all."
Mary Jane's face twisted.
So just fuck her then. Let her rot, yeah?
Macca shrugged.
"What's going to happen to her if she stays here on her own in Whitechapel, Mary Jane? End up like you?"
Who cares?
Mary Jane said flatly.
I'm done. Just waiting to die, counting down the clock. But it's not too late for Ronnie and Annie.
Macca studied her, arms folded. He didn't know if he pitied her or wanted to slap the self-pity out of her.
"What is it you want, MJ? Fairness?"
His voice was sharp, almost mocking.
"There's no such thing. Out here, it's survival of the fittest. Always has been."
Mary Jane's jaw tightened. She hated men like Macca. Men who could shrug at suffering. Men without an ounce of empathy. But then again, maybe he was right. Like he always said, show weakness, and you get trampled. Mary Jane nodded bitterly.
Why the fuck do you think I'm down here, Macca? I was in her place once. If someone had helped me, maybe I wouldn't be the worthless whore I am.
Macca looked her dead in the eye.
"That's the way it goes sometimes."
But it isn't. Not always.
Mary Jane pressed.
There's men out there, preachers, reformers. They go on about saving girls, finding work, safety. I laugh at them, tell them to piss off. But maybe they're right.
Macca barked a laugh.
"What makes you think they're not as bad as the rest? Just full of shit?"
Mary Jane shrugged.
Maybe, but doesn't everybody deserve a chance? Your daughters have one.
"Because I work my bollocks off for them."
Macca growled.
"And I'm not throwing it away for a girl I don't even know."
Mary Jane's shoulders sagged. She felt helpless. Macca sighed, rubbing his jaw.
Don't get me wrong, it's bloody sad. And I hate scum like Rigby as much as the next man.
Caleb grunted in agreement.
But he's only doing what he has to, same as everyone. And if a deal's been struck for this girl, Annie, is it?
Mary Jane nodded.
Then anyone who tries to scupper it will end up gutted. That's the truth.
Mary Jane stared at him, hollow. Then her face hardened.
Fuck 'em!
Macca raised an eyebrow.
Fuck 'em.
Yeah, fuck 'em,
she said, her voice steady.
Look at me. A drunken whore on the edge of the world because no one helped me. I'll be damned if I let that girl and her little brother end up the same.
Macca chuckled and nodded.
Maybe you will be damned. Christ, St. Mary Jane of Whitechapel.
Mary Jane gave him the two-fingered salute.
And fuck you too, King Macca of Slumtown.
So what's next, St. Mary? We ride in on white horses to save the maiden?
Mary Jane shrugged, forlorn.
There must be something.
Macca rubbed his face, then nodded to Caleb.
Fetch Harry, out back.
Caleb left. Mary Jane leaned closer.
What are you gonna do?
Macca exhaled.
Those do-gooders, Toynbee Hall, yeah?
Mary Jane nodded.
I'll get Johnny Upright to sound them out. If they can place the girl and the boy somewhere safe, that's the best you'll get. And that's all I'll do.
Mary Jane lowered her eyes.
All right.
Macca gave her a warning look.
And that's it. I won't get dragged further into this mess. You and Caleb can do the legwork. If you can prise her away from Rigby, it's your call.
Mary Jane managed a faint smile.
Thank you.
Don't thank me,
Macca muttered.
I've not done fuck all yet.
At 28 Commercial Street stood Toynbee Hall. When the heavy brass knocker cracked against the door, Samuel descended the stairs and opened it. On the step stood Johnny Upright, otherwise known as Detective Sergeant Billy Thick.
Yes?
Samuel asked. Billy produced a card.
D.S. Thick, Lehman Street.
Indeed, Sergeant. What may I do for you?
May I come in?
Samuel stepped aside, and Billy removed his hat as he entered.
I'm not here on official business, sir. Nothing to trouble you with,
Billy said with a faint smile. Samuel gave a small nod.
That's a relief. We have a number of university students assisting us, and we are only too well aware of the impetuousness of youth.
Billy smiled again, though it didn't quite reach his eyes.
No, sir, it's nothing like that.
He paused, choosing his words carefully.
You'll recall, no doubt, the Pall Mall Gazette article, Stead's piece, a couple of years back, about young girls being trafficked abroad for nefarious purposes.
Samuel's expression grew grave.
Yes, Sergeant. Quite so. A truly shocking business. It was precisely such revelations that led my wife and I to strengthen our work here.
Billy inclined his head.
Well, it's come to my attention of a young girl in just such a situation now, and her brother, an orphan boy about 8, who's about to be sent to Poplar Workhouse.
Dreadful,
Samuel murmured.
And you wondered whether we might be of assistance?
Billy was about to answer when a firm, female voice came from the top of the stairs.
Yes, Sergeant. We most certainly can help. The girl and the boy. Our good friend Dr. Barnardo will see to the lad, and we can find a respectable position for the girl.
A tall woman in dark dress descended the stairs with purpose, her expression resolute.
Mary Jane knelt in front of the bemused Ronnie.
When does she go?
Mary Jane pressed.
Day after tomorrow.
Ronnie murmured.
She meets some bloke.
Mary Jane's eyes narrowed.
And you?
Rigby says he's taking me tomorrow.
Bastard.
Ronnie hesitated, then added.
He was meeting with this big man last night. Didn't seem nice. Rigby looked scared of him.
Mary Jane leaned closer.
Do you know who he was?
Ronnie shrugged.
I think he's called Ivan.
Mary Jane stiffened. She'd heard the name whispered before, usually with fear.
Ivan?
Ronnie looked to Mary Jane and nodded.
Where's your sister now? Is she scared?
Ronnie shook his head, dazed.
No, she thinks she's going to a fine house with kind people. She says it's the best thing for me, too. That I'll get an education in the workhouse.
Mary Jane stared at him, her stomach churning. She knew better.
You mustn't go to the workhouse, Ronnie. There may be another place for you. Safer. Is there a way I can talk to your sister before she leaves?
Ronnie chewed his lip, then shook his head.
When she meets that man, Ivan, he is not going to let her out of his sight.
Mary Jane turned to Caleb.
Do you know him?
Caleb's jaw tightened. He spat on the cobbles.
If it's the same Ivan, then yeah, only too fucking well. He's the one that did for my mate.
Mary Jane studied his face, the raw hatred in it.
Any suggestions?
Caleb looked at her, then at little Ronnie. His eyes were hard now, set.
Dunno, I'll have a word with Harry, see if he can think of something.
Caleb looked at Ronnie.
I suggest you make yourself scarce before Rigby drags you down to Poplar.
Ronnie frowned.
How?
He can stay at mine.
Mary Jane cut in.
Till we find someone proper to take him.
Caleb barked a laugh.
I can see Barney loving that.
Fuck him.
Mary Jane shot back.
Nice.
Caleb ribbed, shaking his head.
And?
Mary Jane pushed, urging him to go on.
Him or Macca, maybe.
Caleb turned back to Ronnie.
So your sister's being taken to meet these men day after tomorrow?
Yes.
Ronnie nodded.
Do you know where?
Ronnie shrugged.
He said something about the Black Swan first. Ivan was going to meet him on the way.
Caleb's face darkened. He turned to Mary Jane.
You any good at dipping?
Mary Jane gave a sly smile.
Depends how pissed they are, and whether their trousers are hanging over the back of a chair.
Caleb grinned, despite himself.
That's a shame. Best dippers I know are at the Blind Beggar.
Mary Jane narrowed her eyes.
What are you thinking?
Caleb scratched his chin, that sly grin still there.
If Rigby's meeting at the Black Swan and meeting Ivan, we're going to have to stop him before he gets there.
Macca and Harry were out in the yard behind the chandlery, unloading stock from a wagon, when Johnny Upright, Detective Sergeant Billy Thick, stuck his head round the corner and strolled in.
All right, Johnny.
Macca greeted, wiping his hands on his apron.
How's things, Macca? Got anything to tell me?
Macca set a crate down and sat on it, lighting a cigarette.
Things go all right the other day.
Billy nodded.
Yeah, all sweet. I just don't know how you're going to get the girl out of her situation, though.
Macca rolled his eyes.
I've washed my hands of it, mate. I'm not getting involved.
D.S. Thick smiled wryly.
Don't blame you, mate.
Harry joined them, curiosity piqued.
Why'd you say that, Billy?
Billy exhaled, his tone lowering.
Word is some local coppers are on the payroll. It's in their best interest to make sure this girl gets where she's supposed to go.
Macca stared at the ground, jaw tightening. He'd known this was a shitstorm from the start. Harry looked between them.
So Mary Jane and Caleb are in real danger then?
Billy nodded slowly.
Looks that way.
Can't someone have a word in the right ear?
Harry suggested. Johnny Upright gave him a look.
When you say someone, you mean me?
Harry shrugged. Macca laughed under his breath. Johnny just shrugged again.
There's no way of knowing how far up this shit goes.
Macca and Harry exchanged a dark look.
I did tell MJ she was wasting her bloody time.
Macca muttered.
But she's fucking headstrong.
Harry fell silent for a moment, deep in thought, then turned to the detective.
What was that case last year in Hanbury Street?
Billy frowned.
Which one?
That fella. Wharton, wasn't it?
Billy nodded.
The bloke done for impersonating a police officer?
Yeah.
Harry said, grinning. Macca stared at him.
What the fuck, Harry?
I mean, if Rigby was stopped by a shunter accusing him of a crime, he'd have to stop, wouldn't he?
Act your bloody age.
Macca snapped.
Yeah, Harry.
Billy added, shaking his head.
That lad got 2 months for pretending to be a copper.
Only 'cause he got caught.
Harry shot back. Macca groaned.
For fuck's sake, I told you, I want nothing to do with this shit.
Harry shrugged.
Who said you have to?
Because,
Macca said sharply, jabbing his cigarette toward him.
If you get fingered and Caleb gets fingered, they'll put 2 and 2 together, and I'm the one who'll take the blame.
No, you won't, Gov.
Harry said confidently.
Yeah, and so will I.
Billy muttered darkly. Harry frowned at him.
How?
Billy looked between them both, his tone cold and knowing.
Told you, this is big business still.
Macca and Beth were behind the counter at the chandlery, Macca shrugging into his jacket and muttering about
business to attend to.
When the shop bell jangled, Mary Jane walked in, and with her, a skinny, wary-eyed Ronnie. They approached the counter. Macca's expression soured immediately. He knew exactly who the boy was before a word was spoken. He rolled his eyes.
Oh, here we go.
Beth, ever the softer touch, smiled warmly.
And who's this handsome young gentleman, then?
Before Mary Jane could answer, Macca cut straight through it.
How many times have I got to say it? I'm not getting involved.
Mary Jane blinked innocently.
I didn't ask you to get involved, did I?
So what did you bring him here for?
Macca challenged. Mary Jane shrugged breezily.
Thought you might need a helper for a bit.
Beth jumped in before Macca could explode.
I'm sure we can find something for him to do. Can't we, Macca?
Macca stared at her.
I don't know. Can you, Beth?
Beth ignored him completely and turned to Mary Jane.
How long for, dear?
Hour or two?
Mary Jane ventured. Beth nodded. Macca rolled his eyes toward the heavens, defeated. Mary grinned triumphantly and nudged Ronnie forward. Beth winked at the lad.
Do a little job for us and earn some honest pennies,
Ronnie straightened, trying to appear older than he was.
You want me to be a lookout?
Beth frowned, baffled.
A lookout?
Mary Jane sighed.
It's all right. He's been working for Rigby.
Beth's face twisted in disgust.
Oh, that fucking filthy old scrote!
Ronnie's shoulders dropped, embarrassment and relief in equal measure. Beth tapped the counter.
Well, you're safe here, lad. We'll have you sweeping the floor or shifting crates. Nothing dodgy.
Through the archway to Miller's Court, Harry and Caleb pushed an ambucart, squeezing it, just through the narrow alleyway. They brought it to a halt at the back next to the water pump. Mary Jane joined them straight from Macca's Chandler's.
What the fuck are we going to do with him?
Caleb said.
How long's he going to be out for?
Mary Jane asked. Harry shrugged.
Chloroform should be good for about half an hour.
Is that going to be long enough?
Caleb said, getting nervous.
Fucking hope so,
said Harry.
Better put him in my room then. Barney's working down the market today.
Well, we better be fucking quick then before he wakes up.
Caleb stressed.
If he wakes, he'll be really groggy anyway. And we can just plead ignorance. He's not seen any of us.
Harry reassured him.
Easy for you to say. You aren't the one going to be done for impersonating a shunter.
Caleb said. With that, Harry and Caleb opened the cart and carried out the comatose form of a shunter, P.C. Kemp. They then struggled their way into number 13, where he was stripped and placed on the bed.
What about the dippers?
Mary Jane asked. Caleb and Harry shared a look.
Change of plan. No one has seen Toby or Patty for days.
Harry explained.
Oh, great, so that's that then.
Mary Jane said. Caleb shook his head.
But managed to find someone else.
Little Dan, once part of the old, now defunct blind beggar gang, stood pressed into a dark doorway, just far enough out to survey most of the street without being noticed. Mary Jane hovered just behind him, shawl pulled low.
Can you see him yet?
She whispered. Dan shook his head. The street was lively for late evening. Workers hurrying home, others rushing to drink off the day, and the odd drunk snoring against a wall. Lamps cast long swaying shadows across the width of the road. Then, finally, Rigby appeared at the far end of the thoroughfare. And with him, Annie. She didn't look distressed. How could she? She believed Ronnie was safe in Poplar Workhouse, none the wiser that Ronnie had fled. What did Rigby care, so long as Ronnie stopped costing him money? Mary Jane shoved Dan lightly.
That's him. Go.
Dan moved fast, a wiry blur heading straight for the pair. Mary Jane slipped away from the doorway, head down, merging into the crowd and circling to position herself ahead. As Rigby drew near, Dan collided straight into him, making it look clumsy, but his hands were quicker than his feet.
Watch yourself, boy.
Rigby snarled.
You watch where you're going, you old fucker.
Dan shot back. Already gone, pocket watch now slipped neatly into Rigby's coat. Rigby barely had time to curse before a loud voice bellowed down the street.
Here! That's him, officer! That's the bastard stole my watch!
Rigby spun, confused, to see a furious man running toward him with a shunter in tow. Harry, playing the indignant victim, stormed right up to him, while the shunter, well, he seemed a bit short, uniform too big on his shoulders. Caleb did his best to look authoritative, waving his truncheon as if it weighed more than he did.
This man here says you stole his pocket watch.
Caleb barked. Rigby sputtered in protest.
What? I ain't!
But the distraction had worked perfectly. The shunter's tunic hung too loose, the helmet tilted, Caleb playing the part. The victim was Harry, fierce-eyed and loud. Passers-by crowded in, cheering the confrontation. Rigby spluttered.
This is bollocks. I never...
Turn out your pockets, sir,
Caleb said, waving his truncheon with false authority.
Now.
Hang on, you aren't a copper.
Rigby protested. Harry pushed Rigby and Caleb moved in close.
Just fucking do it.
As the crowd pressed closer, Mary Jane seized her moment. She caught Annie's arm and drew her aside.
What are you doing, Annie? You can't go with him.
Mary Jane hissed. Annie frowned.
What's it to you? I've got a good position waiting. A future.
Mary Jane's voice was urgent, low.
Don't be naive. You're what they call a fresh girl. They'll sell you abroad.
I'm to be a maid in a respectable house.
Mary Jane shook her head.
No, a brothel, in a place where you can't speak the language, where no one will help you and you'll be trapped forever. I know, because it happened to me.
Annie's face crumpled.
That's not true. You're just jealous.
Mary Jane gripped her arm tighter.
Listen to me. Ronnie's safe. At mine. Barnardo's will take him. If you come now, I can get you a real position, here in England. Safe.
Annie faltered, eyes darting back to the shouting crowd where Rigby was being shoved and searched.
Why should I believe you?
She whispered.
How do I know you're not the one selling me?
Mary Jane swallowed hard.
What does your instinct tell you, Annie? Your sixth sense? Your guardian angel? Whatever you call it?
For a heartbeat, Annie stared at her, trembling. Then she nodded. Within seconds, Mary Jane had her in tow, darting down a side alley. Behind them, Rigby howled as Caleb pushed him to the cobbles, the crowd laughing. When Rigby finally staggered to his feet, the street was empty but for a few vagrants and drunks. He realized Annie was gone. That was when two shadows loomed over him, Gabe, Ivan.
I knew you were a fucking clown, Rigby.
Gabe sneered.
But today you've outdone yourself.
Rigby's mouth worked soundlessly.
It wasn't my fault.
But Ivan knew. He'd seen the woman who'd led Annie away.
Barney burst into Macca's chandlery, wild-eyed, startling Beth and Ronnie behind the counter.
There's a geezer in my bed,
he blurted. They stared. Beth blinked.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Barney echoed, as he always did when panic set in.
And?
Beth asked, wary.
And there's a geezer in my bed.
Barney wailed again. Beth shrugged and Ronnie just looked bemused.
Well, what are we supposed to say to that?
Beth said.
Say to that? He's in his underwear, lying on top of my bed.
Beth shrugged again.
So you just said.
Having heard all the commotion, Macca appeared from the back. In the meantime, Caleb and Harry were already slipping down the alley in Miller's Court. Macca stared at the irate Barney.
There's a geezer in my bed,
Barney repeated desperately.
I came back from the market, opened the door, and there he was.
Macca folded his arms, unimpressed.
And that's got fuck all to do with me. Why tell me?
Do you know who he is? Why he's there?
How the fuck should I know? You're renting the room, not me.
Yeah, but I've never seen him before. And he's a big bugger too.
Macca glanced at Beth, smirking.
Then it's got something to do with your missus then, hasn't it?
She ain't there,
Barney protested.
Then she's probably, you know.
Macca waved vaguely.
Done the old business, and while the geezer's asleep, she's pissed off to the pub with his money.
Barney's face crumpled.
What, left him in our bed?
Macca sighed, regretting he'd started.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he's a big bugger like you say, and he's away in dreamland, she's hardly going to be able to move him, is she?
Beth snorted behind her hand. Barney's voice cracked.
Will you help me move him?
I've got things to do, mate. I can't...
Go on, Macca.
Beth cut in, barely holding back laughter.
Help the poor man!
Macca shot her a look, but gave in.
All right, I'll give you a hand.
Out on Commercial Street, Caleb and Harry had already wheeled the ambucart, carrying the hastily redressed and now moaning P.C. Kemp, and left it against the wall of ringers before disappearing. Another shunter noticed the abandoned cart, took a quick glance inside, and shocked, blew his whistle, causing the street to buzz with curious onlookers. By the time Macca and Barney squeezed into number 13, the bed was bare. Macca glared at Barney.
Are you taking the piss out of me?
He barked, feigning anger to mask his amusement.
No, honest, Macca. There was a geezer in my bed, in his underwear.
Macca bit back a laugh.
You must have scared him off then, Barney.
Barney slumped, baffled. Macca left smiling, shaking his head.
The gas lamp on the back wall flickered and danced, throwing shadows across the charge book as the desk sergeant dipped his pen and scratched another line. Walt stood beside him, one hand gripping the arm of the man he'd just brought in. Eddie strolled out of the muster room with a grin plastered across his face. Walt frowned.
What's wrong with you?
Eddie chuckled.
Old Kempy reckons he was chloroformed.
Walt snorted.
Had a skinful on duty, more like.
Eddie shook his head, eyes wide with mock sincerity.
No, he swears it. Said he heard a whistle go in Dorset Street, went to check, and next thing he knows he's waking up outside the Britannia with Anderson standing over him.
Walt let out a dry laugh.
Yeah, of course.
Swear on it!
Eddie insisted, still grinning.
He's laid out on a cell bed now, clutching his head, claiming someone's done him over.
The desk sergeant finished his entry and glanced up, lips twitching. The prisoner looked from one face to another, incredulous. The sergeant just shrugged, sanded the page dry, and carried on filling in the book.
Mary Jane stood at the back of the church, half hidden in the gloom. In the front stalls, Annie and Ronnie sat side by side, their young faces lifted as the Salvation Army band struck up. "There is a fountain filled with blood." Frederick Charrington appeared at her shoulder. His voice was low, reverent.
It's a very good thing you've done.
Mary Jane forced a smile.
Everyone deserves a chance.
Charrington studied her.
Yes, as do you.
She bit her lip, said nothing.
It's not too late, you know.
He pressed gently. Mary Jane turned her head, eyes tired but fierce.
I'm way past redemption, mate. Singing hymns won't help me now.
You're wrong,
Charrington said softly.
It's never too late.
For a moment, she held his gaze. Then she smiled faintly, shook her head, and drifted out of the church, the hymn following her into the night. The business with Ronnie and Annie had taken its toll on Mary Jane. She began to see danger where before she'd seen none. Every glance in the street, every whisper in a doorway, every stranger's stare felt like a threat. In her mind, they were all part of the mob that had arranged Annie's abduction. Macca and Barney both told her it was all in her head, that she was imagining things. But Mary Jane couldn't shake the feeling. The fear gnawed at her. So she drank more, argued more, and the simplest things, just getting through the day, was a struggle. She wanted to leave, to get away, escape, but where to? Still, she did what Mary Jane always did best. She masked it. She hid the turmoil behind that easy grin, the sharp wit, the swagger in her step. A front for the world to see. While inside, she was falling apart. Inside the small room of 13 Miller's Court, the arguments were getting more ferocious. Barney's head was a mess, torn apart by Mary Jane continuing to take work. The wrong sort of work. Mary Jane's head was no better, worn down by Barney's humorless jealousy and his failure to keep enough money in her pocket to stop her walking the streets. She wasn't going to grind herself to the bone 14 hours a day at laundry or box making, aching and half dead, just to scrape together half the rent. And she wasn't going to a stinking lodging house either, not unless she earned. They bickered over nothing now, things neither of them remembered afterwards. The window had gone in when Mary Jane lobbed an empty ginger beer bottle at him, glass shattering into the court. That alone would likely piss Macca off. He'd been strangely lenient letting their arrears rise when he'd thrown others out for less. Barney accused Mary Jane of pulling favours behind his back. She spat in his face for it, and they were at each other again. Mary Jane was beginning to despise his sarcasm, his little digs dressed up as jokes. The last straw came when Barney walked in to find her sitting on the bed with a woman he didn't know.
This is Maria,
Mary Jane said evenly.
She's staying the night.
Barney stared at the bed, then at Mary Jane.
It's only a single fucking bed.
Mary Jane shrugged, eyes hard.
Then you can sleep on the floor, or fuck off.
She wasn't joking. Barney knew it. Something shifted inside him then. 2 nights later, Mary Jane brought home another girl, Julia. That was the end of it.
Why are you doing this?
Barney demanded, voice low but shaking. Mary Jane felt sick to her stomach. She didn't hate him, but she couldn't take his sulks and his need to control her any longer.
She's got no money, nowhere to go. I've been there, it's soul-destroying,
she said.
The spike!
Barney muttered. Mary Jane shook her head, incredulous.
You go to the fucking spike. See how you like it, mate?
Julia hovered, wide-eyed at the heat in the room. She put a hand on Mary Jane's arm.
It's okay, Mary Jane. I'll find somewhere else.
Mary Jane shook her head vigorously.
No, you're not, Julia, sweetheart. You're staying here tonight, so, Barney, you can share our bed or fuck off, and I fucking mean it.
For a long moment they locked eyes, fury boiling between them. Julia thought it would turn violent. Barney broke first. He snatched up his coat.
Fine.
He stormed out, brushing past Julia with a shove.
I'm so sorry.
Julia stammered once he was gone.
I shouldn't have put upon you.
Mary Jane shook her head, eyes fixed on the door.
Don't be silly.
Her chest eased as she said the words she'd been wanting to spit for weeks.